like this weird competition of cool.
You take a reef shot to the side of the head for a wave like that.
If I can win this, this will be the greatest moment of my life.
All the girls are surfing so well. They're beautiful inside and out.
Going skageless is a whole nother realm, like a fast version of body surfing.
The power surfing is like a lot of that style and grace with some aggression and harnessing all of those things in one and creating your own style.
My job description is student of surfing.
Board Stories Television is proudly produced in association with Freesurf Magazine. Subscribe today with the QR code or visit freesurfmagazine.com. Aloha and welcome to this very special edition of Board Stories TV, filmed right here at the beautiful location at Waimea Valley. I'm Mike Latronic, along with Pua DeSoto, and Board Stories is back. While COVID-19 wreaked havoc on so many productions and businesses, one thing remained constant. The surf kept pumping, which means the stories kept stacking up.
That's right. Board Stories is back with bigger waves, more barrels, and even more stories to share with you all. For the season premiere, let's take a look at the Eddie Aikau Big Wave Invitational to see some of the bravest surfers and biggest waves in the history of surfing. Held on the North Shore of Oahu in honor of Eddie Aikau, a true Hawaiian hero. This year's event has re-established Waimea Bay as an immensely popular and harrowing big wave location. The swell was massive and consistent, and this day will definitely go down in the history books.
We're going to hear insights from big wave legend Clyde Aikau, as well as interviews and stories from some of the athletes and the water safety personnel. We're going to show you some of the incredible thrills and spills that made this contest one of the most spectacular events of the century and catch up with the eventual winner. Stay tuned, we'll be going big when we return.
Welcome back to Board Stories. The Eddie Aikau Big Wave Invitational is one of the most prestigious surf events in the entire world. The Aikau Ohana hand-selected 40 of the world's most elite big wave riders to compete, and with the criteria of wave size being a minimum of 20 foot plus on the Hawaiian scale. The Eddie has only run 9 times since its inception in the 1980s. On the morning of January 22nd, everyone is just waiting to hear the call. With so much anticipation days before the event, crowds of people from all across the world came down to the bay to sleep overnight just to get the prime seats. Living legend Uncle Clyde Aikau was notably excited about the event.
I was front and center throughout the whole process. Me and Ha'a, my son, camped out with another thousands of people. But I tried to sleep, and finally, at around 3 o'clock in the morning, I heard the shore break get louder and louder and louder. At the break of dawn, me and my crew went up to the scaffolds to get the confirmation of the sets. And at 7 o'clock, there still wasn't a major set yet. But you could see already that it was coming because the buoys was as solid as it's always been. So I felt very comfortable that the sets were gonna come. And sure enough, at around 7:15, we had a 25-foot set coming in from the horizon, and the event was called on.
The day that the Eddie Aikau Big Wave Invitational ran was no normal day. An extremely strong northwest swell marched into the Hawaiian Islands, producing what may well be the most compelling and historic surfing event of all time.
7 years had elapsed since John Florence won the last event, and it's so accurate that sage, respected waterman, the late great George Downing stated, "The bay calls the day." The swell focused in historic fashion and the athletes stepped up impressively. There's really nothing like it in the world, this event that honors Eddie Aikau, and no other place like the arena called Waimea Bay.
Stick around. When we come back, we'll tell you more about Waimea Bay, and after that, we'll get into round number 2. Waimea Bay is one of the most popular big wave surfing locations on the planet. It's big and beautiful, and it also has a lot of mana. Mana is the Hawaiian word for energy. Divine forces are certainly at work in the Waimea Ahupua'a, the Hawaiian division of land from Mauka to Makai. Rainwater flows through the Ahupua'a of Waimea and the powerful historical landmarks that surround it. Ionic vibrations emanating from the rains that run through the valley are fed by the Kumana Nui and Kaviko'ele streams, where Wailele o Waihe'e, the falls, crashes down and births Muliwai o Waimea, a river that irrigates the Ahupua'a of Waimea. Bordered by the Mo'okini Luakini Heiau in Pupukia, Kiana Loa, on the Hali'iwa side to the Kaluahole Ridge side. From Kalakoi to Kalaku stones, the energy of the Vai traverses the hollowed and hair-raising Hali'iwi, or House of Bones, passing a fisherman's ko'a, or shrine, called Ku'una. And near the entrance to the valley, Hale'olono, Makahiki God Lono's temple, is a concentrated suspension of power flowing from the 3 major heiaus, or sacred temples, to the ocean. The Ahupua'a of Waimea and Pupukia was given in perpetuity by Kamehameha Ekahi to his kahuna nui, or head priest of the Papa Kahuna class Hewa Hewa. Coincidentally, the Aikau Ohana are direct descendants of this kahuna nui Hewa Hewa. Sadly, he was the last to preside over the valley heiau. Subsequently, it was ruled by other kahuna nui, high priests such as Ka'o Pulupulu, who built sacrificial heiau for their ali'i nui. Continuing past the chilling Pu'uomahuka heiau, babbling down towards Ku'upolopolo heiau, tributaries extend towards the southwestern side of the bay, where at the water's edge there is a second Lawai'a, or fisherman's ko'a, Keahu Hapu'u. Considering Mauka to Makai, where fresh water meets salt water, the triangulation of mana oscillates. It's worth mentioning that here at Au Mana Muliwai Waimea, ancient Hawaiians played in the river sandbars. When all is taken into account, one can only imagine what asa mana the Aikau Ohana brings to this place in this event.
Waimea Bay is a powerful and magical place. The waves that rolled in that day were charged with unmatched energy. With round one complete, surfers would prepare for round two, which even had more insane action.
Every set of waves that steamed in at Waimea Bay that day carried at least one or more actual rogue waves. The level of danger was extremely high, and luckily, Hawaii has some of the best and finest water safety personnel on the planet. Honolulu City and County lifeguards are perhaps the most elite and well-versed ocean rescue professionals on Earth. Commuting to work in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, these men and women go to the office knowing that life and death may well be on the line most any average day of work on Oahu's North Shore. The Hawaiian Water Patrol is an uber-select team of ocean experts who specialize in jet ski-assisted water rescues and safety. Both the state lifeguards and the Hawaiian Water Patrol deserve enormous accolades and huge thanks for their expertise at this monstrous surfing event. Board Stories was fortunate enough to catch up with Pomai Hoapili, one of the expert drivers for the Hawaiian Water Patrol.
Right along the shoreline, just feet from dry sand, was this insane current that was pulling from Haleiwa towards Sunset, and it was kind of like smashing up against the wall. And so we had this heavy current from left to right, and then we had shore break and we had closeouts. Everyone knows Waimea for the outside big wave, but what nobody really likes to talk about is the shore break. Our shore break is horrendous and huge. Like that day, there was like 12 footers 3 feet off of the sand. Not to mention that a jet ski works well when it's full of water, but when there's bubbles and sand, your jet ski is not working so hot. So there's a lot of cavitation going on. Our jet skis aren't working at full power, all in that foam. So what we noticed right off the bat was that our safety zone on the inside, which is usually quite large, was really, really small that day. It went from maybe a soccer field rectangle that we usually get to play with in there to like a really critical triangle sitting next to a rock. We could only spend a few minutes in there, but it was pretty heavy. A lot of foam, a lot of sand. Luckily, we have a big fleet of jet skis to kind of shuffle around skis, but it's pretty hard throughout winter to keep them all in top shape and running all good. You're going to constantly be trading out skis.
Of the world's most elite big wave riders took to the sea to ride these beasts and consistently tested themselves in 30 to 50 foot waves all day long. Massive swells poured in all morning long and were expected to build throughout the day. Round 2 did not disappoint.
Especially having women surfing the event this year. I just try to be myself, and being out there doing what I love is the best thing ever. Just trying to catch the best waves I can and be the best person I can.
said, you know, I'm just gonna lay it all on the line. You know, I've surfed out here a bunch and I know which spot I gotta sit in, so I sat there and I said the biggest one that comes, I'm just gonna whip it and go, no questions asked. Today delivered and it was crazy. I still can't believe some of the waves I got, probably some of the best waves of my life.
Most special day in surfing history. There's no event that's this prestigious, that holds this much emotion and power. You know, Eddie Aikau he's my idol. Being able to go out there, surfing this event and honor him is the biggest accomplishment of my life. I've never came in and felt this alive in life, and I'm just so grateful. And what a day, a couple incredible waves, the biggest, best Waimea I've ever seen.
After this amazing day full of rogue waves and great performances and the completion of round 2, it was simply a matter of tallying up the scores to pick the winner. Out of the 40 competitors, there were a handful who truly stood out above the rest. The top athletes would see their way to the main podium. In the end, it was humble North Shore lifeguard Luke Shepardson besting previous champion John Florence for the top honor.
Yeah, growing up here in Hawaii, it's like any other kid, kind of on the North Shore. Started at Hawai'i, catching the white waters and learning how to paddle and get to my feet there by myself. And then my dad lived up here on Crazy Lane on the corner for a lot of my childhood. And so when I'd come home from school to his house, I'd just run across the street to VLAN. And that got me starting to get better and better, and started learning how to get barreled at VLAN, and that's probably the best feeling in surfing, is getting barreled. From there, moved to Rockies and then to Sunset and Pipe, and eventually Waimea and Outer Reefs. All my friends on the North Shore, Kala, Makai, Landon, Ayala, Nathan, Ivan, we're all similar age, so we all grew up pushing each other, and then aspirations were to be a pro surfer, and then growing up here on the North Shore, you're kind of immersed in the scene because it's kind of where everybody comes to every winter. And I tried for a while, and then I kind of realized that's not what I'm chasing, but I do love surfing. It's my passion. Seeing the lifeguards on the North Shore, how they help people and they get to be on the beach, it's a great lifestyle. And when I realized, I was like, pro surfing's not really for me, but how can I make a living being on the beach? And lifeguarding was it, and I love to help people, so I love what I do and glad to do it. The Eddie Aikau is like the pinnacle of surfing. I think it's like the biggest, most prestigious contest there is. When I was invited for the first time was like just mind-blowing. It's been the biggest dream of my life forever to be able to surf in it. When I grabbed my jersey for the first heat, I started crying. I was like, it's really happening. I always get the chills at the opening ceremony every time, and then being out in the water, you definitely feel the mana of the place, and that was the most consistent closeouts that I've ever seen at Waimea, with also beautiful shape to the wave. I think I couldn't have asked for a better combination of everything, how it came together. I have my lineup and I was sitting on, and then everyone was way deeper than me. I was like, I hope I don't look bad. Like, I know the waves that I'm looking for and where I like to sit so that I can make the waves. And yeah, I got out for my second heat and I was sitting in the lineup on my mark and very grateful the waves came to me. Like a minute or 2 minutes into the heat, just a beautiful wave came to me, like perfect chip, and I was like, it felt like one of the best waves I've ever had at Waimea. Like seeing the clip, it doesn't look like too much of an airdrop, but it felt like it was an airdrop, and then a huge explosion. And when I came out of the explosion, I was like, I think that was a really good wave. So I claimed it and then just cartwheeled right after. I wasn't paying attention, but I would just like to thank the whole Eddie Aikau Foundation and the whole Aikau Ohana for putting on such a magical event and continuing the legacy of Eddie Aikau. He was a real-life superhero, and what he did is amazing. To kind of follow in his footsteps is really humbling, and it's really cool. And thank you to all the fans and the supporters that came down to watch, and thank you to everybody that helped me and get to where I am. Thank you to my family and friends, and yeah, baffled.
What a humble human being, and what an amazing story. Eddie Aikau was one of the original North Shore lifeguards, and this year, this event was won by another North Shore lifeguard.
It was truly an amazing day and a milestone for surfing. A big mahalo goes out to the entire Aikau family, all the competitors, Water Patrol, all the officials, spectators. What a day. I'm sure Eddie would be proud. From Waimea Valley, we're gonna say aloha.